Welcome to Build, everybody. I'm your host, Cole Delbick from HuffPost here in New York City. Our next guest needs no introduction. Yes, Lucy Hale herself is in the studio. She's been in the spotlight since she was just a kid and then became a part of the not-so-little phenomenon, Pretty Little Liars. Now she's returning to TV in the dramedy Life Sentence, which premieres tomorrow on the CW, and unless A has something to do with it, is gonna be her next big hit. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Hey, did my dad seem weird to you?
No, your dad's just not a very emotional guy.
Yeah, it's probably nothing. Okay, time for our private celebration. Play Sarah Bareilles. Actually, would you mind if we took the night off? I'm exhausted, and...
Yes, absolutely fine. No problem.
Okay, I'm sorry. Today's just been a lot, and I don't want to be up for hours.
Babe, it doesn't have to take hours. I mean, maybe we can just ditch the 600 candles and the indie rock soundtrack and, you know, just get her done.
Oh, wow. Am I the in that crude proposition?
No, I mean, yes, you are, but
Do you not like the way we have sex?
I love it. It's not that. I'm just saying that this isn't gonna be your last night on Earth, so maybe we could change it up.
I don't want anything to change.
But you know what? Never mind.
Hi, guys.
Let's keep it going for Lucy.
Hi. Oh, I see so many familiar faces.
I know the fans came out today.
They did. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me back. I was trying to remember if this is my third or second. I think it's my third time here.
You're a longtime family friend of the studio.
I mean, pleasure to be back.
You know, so I binged the first couple episodes of Life Sentence over the weekend. I laughed, I cried, I sent sappy text messages to my parents afterwards. It's so good. And you've sort of done the impossible here. You found a really special series after coming off an uber successful show. How are you feeling?
You know what? To be honest, I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous, but equally as excited. It's just, you know, after doing PLL for 8 years, I knew that my next move, it was strategic what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something really different than what I had been doing, just because creatively I was just like craving to do something on the opposite end of the spectrum. But you know, when people see you as one role, it's hard for them to see you in something else. But you know, I've been blown away by the support I've received. People are just sort of following all of us into all of our other projects. So I think you guys are gonna love Stella. She's very quirky, she's very fun and positive, but yeah, I'm feeling good though. Positive vibes all around, yeah.
You know, before we get into sort of the Life Sentence goodness, I want to kind of travel back to 2016. PLL had just wrapped the series finale.
Can't even remember what I did yesterday. Okay, 2016.
Let's go back. What was sort of your mental state after the series finale? How were you feeling?
After we had done, I actually was already attached to do this. So you know, it's weird. It's weird. I spent my 20s on that show. And so it didn't really sink in that whole experience was done until very recently, because we just now got done sort of doing press for PLL. So it's kind of just now sunk in that part of my life is over and now this is my new chapter. But at the end, I sort of didn't go into a mode of, okay, I'm done with the series, I have time off. It was sort of like, okay, finish this, now I have to put my mindset into something else. So that was not really initially my plan. I thought I was gonna end a series, take a little break, travel the world, you know, but that's not what happened, and I'm really glad I made this decision.
Yeah, so kind of what made the character of Stella irresistible to you, impossible to turn away, given that you'd already been so busy and on this show?
Yeah. Well, they presented me with the idea, and I thought it was so clever, because we've all seen the cancer movies, and we all know this girl. But they took this story and they like flipped it on its head. What if the girl doesn't die? What if she gets a second chance at life and has to figure out who she is when she's in her mid-20s? So, you know, for 8 years, Stella was protected from the world because she was dying and her family wanted to give her the best life possible. So she didn't really have to deal with things that normal people have to. So when we find out in the pilot that she's got this second chance, she's like, do I even know the man that I married? Who am I? What do I want to do? What are my dreams? What are my aspirations? Oh my God, my family's insane. The world is crazy. So like everything comes crashing down on her. And, but the reason I knew that I had to play her, I love inherently who she is. She's someone that I strive to be more like. She lives in the moment. She's spontaneous. She is the most selfless person, to a fault almost, because she doesn't worry about her issues. She's like a fixer. She wants to fix everyone else's problems so she doesn't have to focus on what's wrong with herself. But as the series unfolds, you see that she has a lot of flaws and she's got to figure it all out. But she's funny. She has a sense of humor about everything. The show makes me laugh till I like pee my pants. So I knew that I wanted to be a part of it because, after being a part of a drama where I'm always crying for so long, although I do cry a lot in this show too, it's nice to change up the tone a little bit.
Yeah, and
I
you
have a hair on my mouth, sorry.
couldn't tell.
It's really bothering me. Okay, got it. I think we're good. Okay.
You mentioned sort of the show turning this genre on its head, and I think it's so smart about its references. Like when you're in the hospital, you're watching Sweet November. What are those sort of go-to cancer movies or movies that make you cry that you watch when you want to get in that sort of headspace?
Well, it's like, I love Fault in Our Stars. That's like, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, like all these, and that's not really where I did most of my research, because what I wanted to do, what I always was very conscious of, is we wanted to do the cancer part justice. Although we're doing it with a sense of humor because it's such a heavy topic. I don't think there's anything heavier than death. We wanted to make sure that we did that part justice because it affects like 1 in 4 people, which is insane. So what I really wanted to know was what kind of treatment Stella went through. And actually the treatment that cured Stella is a real thing. I had no idea. I watched this whole documentary on it because you can be cured of cancer. It's just extremely rare. What they do is I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but basically in Lucy terms, they inject you with a virus that would normally be very unhealthy for a human being, and that virus is targeted to kill the cancer cells and leave the healthy cells alone. And it's very rare, but they do it, and that is really what cured Stella. So most of my research was like background stuff on that because I couldn't relate to that in any way, knock on wood. But I grew up in Tennessee, so I was familiar with like St. Jude and sort of how it affects the families, because I think what people don't realize is it's often a lot harder for the families than for the actual patient, and you'll see that in the series as well. Not to be morbid or anything, but anyway.
No, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I think when people watch a show like this, they really want it to get the depiction of cancer right. So what other lengths did you go to sort of ensure that you were like authentically capturing this pain and struggle?
I mean, ultimately, it's like, although I couldn't attach myself to certain things, I can relate to feeling super lost and like, am I making the right decisions? Am I on the right path? And it was more like I saw so much of myself in Stella that way, because what this show becomes, it's not a show about a sick girl. It's a show about a girl who's really lost and got to figure out who she wants to be. And that was very easy for me to tap into.
You mentioned the family, and that's just as much as part of the show as sort of this premise. How does the news that she's cured sort of impact them?
Well, I think for so long the family had deflected from what they were going through because they put her in the forefront and everything else took a back seat. So, we figure out in the pilot that her mom has been struggling with her sexuality, and her parents actually hate each other and they're not happily married. Her brother deals drugs and her sister hates her kids. So it's like, and prior to being cured, she thought everything was like rainbows and glitter and the world was just wonderful. So I think that it's sort of, for everyone, they have to rearrange their lives now that, their daughter's gonna live. And it becomes a very funny, dysfunctional mess. It's kind of it's hysterical to watch it unfold.
I know. Are you guys intrigued? Like, so much happens in this show. And we have to talk about your love interest. So in the pilot, you go to Paris, you get married. As your character puts it, you have Sarah Bareilles candle sex every night.
Every night.
Every last night. You know, what would you do if you got sort of that news, you had weeks, days, months to live? What would be sort of your bucket list moment?
I know, everyone asks that, and it's like, we can all sit here and say, like, I'd do X, Y, and Z. And of course, mine would be traveling, a safari, skydiving. But honestly, I think I'd just go home and see my family. And that's the craziest news you could ever receive. I truly don't know I don't think I would get married on a whim, like Stella did. I think I just want to spend time with family, to be honest, because I never get to see them. I know that's like a really boring answer, but
no, I think that's what we would all would.
Sorry, I mean, I love my family, so.
And so how does this sort of marriage evolve now that he's sort of been this caretaker, kind of wanting to provide the perfect life for you, and now not so much?
Right, so basically Stella, on her last big, like, hurrah, she's like, I'm going to Paris and I'm going to meet the love of my life. She goes to Paris, meets the love of her life, and they get married thinking that she's got like 6 to 8 months tops to live, which is like, why would he marry? That's weird.
Red flag,
but they are very in love with each other. And so when they get this news, they realize they have no idea who they are and who they are together, or even if they want to be together. But the core of the show is this love story, and you really root for them, and you understand why they work and why they don't work. And I love the ending of the show because I feel like, obviously I can't talk about it, but it's you don't see it that often on TV, and it's very empowering for women. And I think that for me it's the perfect message for a lot of people. So. But you root for Wes and Stella. What's their like ship name? Was Stella? That's weird.
Stelles? I don't know.
Stess? No.
Stans, please help us out sometime on Twitter.
What? Wella!
Thank you.
You guys have been thinking about this. Okay, that's cute. Okay, Wella. Perfect. How did I not think of that? Okay.
You know, Aria was sort of the fashion queen on PLL. How does Stella's wardrobe reflect her personality? I'm imagining less feathers, right?
Less leopard print, less feathers. Stella's I love her wardrobe. She's kind of an old soul to me, so I came in with the idea that I wanted her to always have like a vintage feel. So it's almost like she's, from a different era. She's wearing like still very quirky. Like there's an element of Aria to her, which I think is really cool. Like she's wearing stuff that nobody else is wearing, but it's a lot of like Peter Pan collars and very fitted like high-waisted skirts, and she's very prim and proper and very cutesy. But it's fun. It suits her perfectly.
Yeah, speaking of Aria, now that sort of after the fact, how do you reflect on her ending on the show? She sort of had her happy ending with Ezra, but then realized that she couldn't.
It's like, how did the show end?
Kids, I know it's a little bit ways back.
Yeah.
Were you satisfied with that conclusion?
I loved the last season for Aria because I went to the writers and was like, please give me something dark to do. Please let Aria do something fun. So I got to have this moment where Aria kind of turns on her friends and works with A, but not really, and got to do, what do they call it, Avataria, where I was like playing in a scene with myself, which was weird, but very fun. Yeah, obviously, I always knew that Ezra and Aria would end up together because I think people would have like sent us death threats if that didn't happen.
Rioted in the streets, yes.
But they were always destined to be together. I mean, they went through a lot. I think they deserve a happy ending.
No, I was relieved to sort of see that conclusion. And you've all done such amazing things since then. Troy and Roden produced a film. Shay's on a new series. Ian wrote a book.
Everyone's killing it.
Yeah, do you guys still sort of share in each other's successes? Do you keep in touch?
Yeah, I just saw Janelle and Tyler like 2 days ago. Janelle's about to start The Perfectionist next week. Which is, I love her so much. I'm so excited. Tyler just booked a CW pilot, so we might be like CW
network
friends.
Siblings.
Ian called yesterday. I don't know what that was for. I got to call him back. He's doing great. Ashley, I guess, is doing great. Shay's on an ABC show. Yeah, everyone's just like, and Troyan is just doing everything because she's the girl who can do everything. But it's great. It's so cool to see us graduate to this next stage and like to have all of you guys support us in whatever we do. It's incredible.
You know, you mentioned The Perfectionist, and I think PLL fans are really excited to see this next chapter.
I am too.
You know, Mona and Allison are on board. Any chance Arya might pop up this season, next season, anytime?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're filming in Portland, and if we go back for a second season, I'm in Vancouver. That's pretty close. I might just like drop in, just like walk behind in a scene or something, or work at a coffee shop. We'll see. Who knows what Arya's up to these days?
Yeah, what do you think? Do you ever have any sort of
I
like...
bet she's living some like weird cabin life with Ezra. I bet she like moved away and like knits blankets, and they read stories to each other at night. And who knows? Or they could be just living in turmoil somewhere with A following them. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what The Perfectionist is, because I haven't read that book. But I'm very curious to see how they're meshing PLL in with that. Yes, I'm just as eager as everyone else.
You know, I want to switch gears a little bit to your music career. The Road Between is still that album I love. Been, you know, loving you since American Juniors, way back. Yeah, we're going way back. No, that's so good. What was that like to sort of flex a different muscle at sort of the height of PLL's fandom stardom?
Horrifying. No, I'm just kidding. It was, you know, truly that time of my life was the most challenging, because obviously PLL took up so much of my time, and then on the weekends and on hiatuses, I was working on music, and it was good. I learned a lot about myself, a lot about what I can handle and what I can't handle, and the support was just mind-blowing. You know, music has always been like my thing. It was always my hobby growing up, and to get to utilize it in a different way was, you know, felt so fortunate. Not everyone who can sing gets to make an album. But right now, I guess where I'm at with it, it's kind of like still my hobby. It's still my thing. I don't know. I would love to make more albums. It's just more about timing, because I could easily just go in the studio and record some stuff and release it. But I want it to feel, you know, authentic and special. And I do have something coming out where I play a singer, so there'll be some music there. But hopefully soon. Yeah.
Would you still sort of be in the country pop genre, or would you sort of grow beyond that?
I think so. I mean, my heart lies there, but I don't know. I'm open, but country music's kind of like, that's my thing. So
I know you're a big Taylor Swift fan. What'd you think
love
of the
Taylor
album?
Swift. You know, she can do no wrong in my eyes. Like, truly, she just like, anyone that takes risks like that, how can you even argue with it? I think she's fantastic. I love her. She's a great songwriter. Yeah, huge fan.
You know, and should Life Sentence have a similar success to PLL, would you be comfortable sort of staying on a show for that long again?
100%. That was the only reason I signed up, is because I was like, I could live in this world, in this character, with these people for as long as, you know, the network lets us go. So now we're in this weird spot of, you know, the baby's being released tomorrow, and I'm so nervous, but that was a weird way to put it. The baby's being released. You know what I'm saying. And now it's sort of like out of our hands. We're done with the season. We did all we could do. We put our heart and soul into it, and now we can just like hope for the best. I can't remember the last time I felt like this kind of butterflies in my stomach. But, you know, wish for the best. I hope you guys love it.
You know, and you sort of have accumulated this huge fan base from PLL, especially among young women. Do you like consider that when you're taking on a role? I know, especially with social media, there's much more direct engagement, be it good or bad, with fans and followers.
Yeah. Sorry, I zoned out for a second. Did you say, do I choose roles based on...
You know, how does sort of this fan following impact your...
Yeah, I mean, I'm very conscious of it. I try to be aware of what that, you know, my public persona is. But as far as choosing roles, I'm just at the point in my life where I want to do roles that matter and mean something. And this really matters. The story really matters, and I think people need to hear it. But this was more a decision for myself, because I was in this place where I was like creatively doing the same thing for 8 years, and I was like, you know, we all want to do something a little left of center every now and then. So, but it just happened to be a role that I feel is important too. But I don't want to say I want to say I make my choices for myself, but that would be a lie all the time, you know.
You know, speaking of left of center, I was watching The Bachelor last night, and then I saw the trailer for Truth or Dare, and it was so disturbing.
Oh,
I
are they playing
left
that?
the room. I was like, ah!
Oh, yeah. It's so dark.
That
It's so
shot
twisted.
of you in the end with your face distorted. I can't unsee
I got
that.
so many screen grabs of that and memes. My friends are just making so much fun of me. They're like, what is this? So it was so weird filming that because obviously our face wasn't contorted, but we had to like put our neck down and smile really big. We're like, this is gonna be ridiculous. How's this gonna work? But it is horrifying. Looks like a terrifying Snapchat filter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of a different role I think your fans haven't seen you in, right?
I mean, it is similar in the way of PLL that like something's chasing us and we're like fighting to survive. But in Truth or Dare, it's definitely way more heightened. But it was cool because I got to be sort of like the hero of the movie. That was a hard movie to shoot because it's not like things were here and here and here. It was like here the whole time. But I love horror movies. I love that genre. I totally buy into it. Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna
so
be fun.
excited to see
Yeah.
it. I can't wait. And you know, I know Stella has a bucket list. What are your sort of bucket lists moving forward in terms of the acting arena? Anything that you want to do? Is it movies? Is it more?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do like a musical, but then like I'm in the spot where I just want to do like dark, gritty, weird things that people don't expect me to do. I love like the indie world. I gravitate more towards those kinds of movies. I want to get into producing. I've always had this like dream of writing a script called Bad Decisions. Nobody steal my. Why did I just say that? Someone's gonna steal
This
my
is a safe
idea.
space. Nobody's.
Yeah, I trust you guys. I'm gonna go like patent it right when I get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. But I've always wanted to write a script, but more like I'm really getting into, like I want to get into producing, more music. You know, I don't know, stuff with fashion. I don't know. I just feel lucky to be where I'm at, and if I can just keep riding the wave.
Yeah, I think
you
we'd
know?
all love to see what you could come up with, and sort of behind the scenes too, and especially in this kind of political, cultural moment. I think that's so important.
Yeah. Go women. It's like such an important time for women. It's very exciting.
Yes. Well, no better spot to end on before we get to audience Q&A.
All right.
Who's up first?
Not everybody at once.
Hi.
Oh, there you are. Oh, I thought you were like passing this. Sorry. Hi.
I was wondering, what has playing Stella taught you about yourself? Like, what lessons have you learned from playing this character?
I think mostly Stella is someone who is so present and is so like alive in every moment and appreciates every little detail of everything. And I realized I was like, wow, I'm always thinking 10 steps ahead. Always. I'm like so rarely in the moment. I think that's partly because of what I do for a living. You're always, you know, you're on a show, you got to think about the next show. You got to, you know. But it's taught me to sort of, you know, and take it day by day, enjoy everything while you can, because honestly, we are not guaranteed anything. We're not guaranteed another moment. And yeah, I love her mentality, and I'm trying to sort of incorporate it into my life. Although right now I'm like, what am I gonna have for lunch? You know.
It's hard to fight those instincts. Next question.
Hey, Lucy, how are you?
I
Good seeing
love
you.
my painting or drawing. It is so
so
sweet. Thank you.
I'm glad you like it. So my question is, can you recall the moment that you like found out that you were casted for this role, like that you got the part?
Yeah, it actually, we were like 3 months, we still had 3 months left to film Pretty Little Liars, and I got a call to meet with the creators of the show, Aaron and Rich. Hi, Aaron and Rich, I don't know if they're watching. And they sat down and presented me with this idea, and I was like, more TV? I was like, I don't know. And at this point, we didn't really have like the idea of the show. Then they presented me with the idea of the show. I was like, I'm in. Where do I sign up? I'm totally in. But it was a situation where I wasn't used to this. I didn't have to audition. It was sort of like they wrote the character catered towards me, which was a dream, any actor's dream. So yeah, I guess it was kind of around then. It was, I don't know, about a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. Thanks.
And we got one more question for you.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. So this is going to be an online question.
Okay.
This is from LHBE.
LHBE. What's up?
Do you sometimes check out videos on YouTube of your songs sung by fans?
Sung by fans. I have seen some of these. I've seen. It's so bizarre to see people you know, because I put so much time into the music that I created, and to see people, to see it resonate with people in that way, and then to see them recreate it. And I'm like, you're doing it better than I did. Yeah, it's very flattering, and yes, love the support all around.
Well, everybody make sure to check out Life Sentence, premieres tomorrow on the CW, and give it up for Lucy.
Because I hit my arm. Thank you guys so much.